Welcome to a new episode of Online Business English for non-native English speakers. It can be quite challenging to start your own online business. You need to have your website set up, all the systems, you need to learn a ton of new things, and then you need to make sure that clients come in, that they are able to find you and that they purchase from you. As a non-native English speaker, there is one more thing that needs your attention. Your level of English may or may not be what you like it to be, or you might not be happy with the way you are able to express yourselves. I have started a group. We have a Facebook group and we have weekly webinars. We do not only go over English grammar, expressions and statements, the jargon, we also make sure that we go into mindset and self-expression. You learn how to accept your accent, to embrace your background. The sooner and the better you're able to go within, the sooner and better you're able to bring out into the world what's truly yours.
Hi everyone, this is webinar number 7 and I am extremely happy and honored that you're here today. As you know, the topic of today is our struggles, and even though every week we talk about a certain type of struggle, this week I wanted to give the floor to all of you and come with your struggles to the webinar so we can discuss them. We can help you on a more concrete and a more practical level. Rather than just having like an overall theme, which I think is also nice, but I want you to give the opportunity, and I've reached out to a couple of you about having like a more specific think on what it is that you struggle with. So I just want to start the discussion. There's no agenda. I did a tiny bit of research and I've come up with 2 practical things that we can apply to the struggles that you voted for would be the struggles that we had to discuss for sure. And to give everybody a recap, I gave you 3 options. The one was I can't find the words in English to formulate and convey my message. The second one was I don't think my English is good enough, so I don't want to. I don't feel comfortable and confident. And the third one was I am very anxious as to what other people think of my written and spoken English content, and therefore, you know, I keep myself from creating that content. It's kind of similar struggles, but I think the overall struggle that we all have is kind of similar. So I wanted to break it down and give different phrases and different wording to it, so you can maybe recognize in what you struggle with or don't struggle with, so you can break down your struggles a bit and they don't feel as overwhelming. So I hope that makes sense to everyone.
Yes.
Good, awesome. So I really want to give the floor to you guys, open up the discussions, come out into the webinar if you feel that you want to, you know, put your struggles onto the table, and then we can help each other out. How does that sound?
It's great.
Good.
Good.
Okay, so who wants to come out first? Maybe in total, like who would really want to like address their struggles and their topics? Can I see a raise of hands? Katrien, Vladi, Erica, Ruud, Aldona. I had an interesting message from Raymond, and I do appreciate your participation in this webinar anyway, because Raymond told me, I find it easier to talk about the SFM in English than in Dutch. And I highly resonate with that. And I see Ruud nodding his head as well. So I think, thank you very much, Raymond, for showing up. And I think it's you can give a different perspective and a certain type of help to everyone here who has the opposite struggles. So thank you very much for joining. Okay, so I saw a couple of hands going up, and who wants to go first?
Maybe the ladies first.
Ah, thank you, Vladi. That's awesome. Katrien, you see,
Yes.
very
Yes, I'm ready. I have prepared. You asked me, so I have been diving deep lately. Actually, not just within the last few days, because you know I'm Danish and we live in the south of France, and I'm trying to crack the code on the French, and it's quite interesting because I have had it in school, and I thought that I had the intention, I'm gonna nail it this time, but what I have discovered is how complicated the French language is now that I live here, because earlier I thought it was about being a little lazy, that they really don't want to try to meet you and understand you, but now I have the fully picture of the small variations in the pronunciation makes a totally difference. So that's one thing, and that's quite interesting because I'm grown up with languages, and we are a family who has been traveling always. So I think I am in a mix with French people speaking poorly English, and then we are two Danes home in here where we live, and you don't go and speak a foreign language with your spouse. That's just too complicated. So normally my Danish language is I like to play with words. I like to use how can you say,
Expression.
a skill. I like to use the language on quite a high level, if you can say. And what I discover my process here during maybe the last year is that maybe my Danish is getting poorer as well. So what I have implemented in my setup here now is I have on my desktop I have one program that works good for me because I work with different texts in different languages.
Which is the program? Could you tell us, please?
Sorry?
Could you tell us which is this program that you use for?
Yes, I use Ginger, and I have actually prepared a little text note that I will copy into the comments afterwards.
Okay.
Yes, and Ginger goes with a lot of different languages, but I also discover that going directly to Danish, it's not good because, you know, computers are trained with knowledge. So what I do is I go from English to French, from French to English, or German English, or maybe mostly Danish. German works quite well because it's more related, but you know, it's just to give you a framing how I work with languages. So what I have discovered is I miss our Danish libraries. There's not that opportunity down here. It's quite poor, I must say, and getting in touch with more advanced English literature is not that easy. So I have diving deep into looking on several things on my equipment. So I have just started using my notepad with Kindle, and this has taken me some time, but I'm quite surprised. It works quite well. So what I have is I have apps for dictionary and translations on my telephone, and I will put links also here because I found some quite good apps, and they on the top of that, they also have a little loudspeaker actually pronouncing the word correct. So I have that in English, in French, in Danish, and I have tested it through. And I also, because I also have German language, I don't use it in my day-to-day, but I have all the languages I would like to practice better. I have them on my phone. So it works quite well when I read text on my phone. For example, when you read posts on Facebook, or you see something on YouTube or something, you can actually copy a word and then paste it into your dictionary app. And if you are unsure on the pronunciation, there's actually this little function that actually speaks the word out correctly. So I think it's amazing with the technology. But I realized also that I can do that also on my Kindle. Yeah, what I realized also is I did paste a little test. I found this little test in English into the Facebook group. I don't know how many of you saw it, but I did play with it the other day. So I can see that my reading and listening and spelling is working quite well. I was framed as an almost expert in English. So,
Oh, nice.
okay, so that was quite positive. That was really a good experience. I can really recommend you to take this little test. My Spanish was totally rubbish. My German was rusty and not good. And my French was, again, also much better than I had expected. So that's a good experience. I can really recommend you to play with it. So what I have realized now is that if I dive deep into some more high-level English literature, where I actually read it, and now I have these apps where I can copy paste the word if I have some words that I'm not sure of, and I don't even have to sit with piles of books, and that takes a lot of time when you do it the old-fashioned way, right? So my latest, and that's within the last since yesterday. I have started reading Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. And what I discovered here is he has a very unique language and some new words I didn't know of in English. So I think what I discover now is it's important for me actually to be aware of the level where I am in my language skills, and then actually go for a higher level so I can learn some more, because it's not difficult for me to listen to webinars. I understand everything, and I almost get every dialect in English, almost. No, I will see Mark Ford
Very well done.
can be a little a challenge when he really speeds up. But I think it's not a problem for me to listen. What happens for me also is when I'm together with people that are non-native English speaking, I automatically adjust my level of speaking together with the people I'm together with. So if they speak poorly, it gets rubbish, poorly-ish.
Do you
Yeah.
do
I
this
see
intentionally?
everybody nod their head, so I think that goes for all of us.
And I don't know, I have been thinking about that, because it's actually, it's not a win-win.
No.
It's not a win-win, but I really try to do my best. But I think my common way of meeting people is that you meet an eye level, right? So you adjust so that everybody feels comfortable. Maybe it's also within my zodiac. I'm a Libra, so for me it's always to get things to balance when you are in dialogue with new people or the people you know. And so when I'm together with fluently native English speaking people, they are, they just tell me, oh, you speak fantastic, and I forget that you are non-native and blah, blah, blah. So that works quite well. Walk and talk, that works perfect. Yeah. So I think,
Kathleen, what are,
yeah,
could you give a lot of examples of what works for you, because you're a non-native English speaker?
yeah,
And you have posted the test in the Facebook group as well that we can all take, which is amazing.
yeah.
What are the things that you, what is the reason that you join these webinars, for example? What are the things that you struggle with? What do you still need help with?
I need to practice. I need to practice and be aware, and I think it's a great opportunity to catch up on each of all people in the group coming with the awareness on what they discover. I learn a lot from that.
Okay.
What I also is very inspired of is to put my text together somehow. I think also it's related to not really having a strategy yet, that also makes it a little difficult for me to put it all together. So
a
what
strategy, what do you mean by strategy?
on my marketing, because I'm not going to market only SFM. I have a lot of things. I have a lot of things on my heart I have to get out with, but also
So then do you struggle, sorry to interrupt, do you then struggle to put into words what you are actually trying to do and how to combine everything?
Yes, because and I'm quite proud of myself, I must say, because normally I struggle myself alone, but I have been reaching out and I'm getting some mentoring on this, and that's a great help, because when you have a subject that is not that common with what everyone is talking about, it can I'm very unsure on the level of the messages I want to get out with. And that makes me actually hesitate
to produce content.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this what I'm very much speaking about here is the health related situation. It's about making people be much more aware, and I have some experience about people just around me, and I want to get further out with some quite important messages, but I think I think I'm reaching a level now where I have the picture of what to be aware of. Thanks to you, Jiska. I think this is an amazing group. I'm so happy for being here, and also it makes a good practice to put words on things. And
is there anything specific on your mind that you like wording for that we can help with right now, since we're all here?
If I would like to come back with that, actually.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Sure. Because I'm still in a process. I'm in a huge process, but being aware of also to catch up on more advanced level of English speaking or wording, putting things in the right what do you call perspective? It's yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I hope it gives a picture for you.
It does. It does sketch. It does gives us an insight in what you're doing, and maybe we should have like every 5th week or every 4 weeks have like a huge brainstorm for everyone. So have like general topics as webinars, and then we have the big brainstorm where everybody can bring their products and their texts and their services, so we can all have a look at it. So yeah, when you're ready, let us know, and you can always also use the Facebook group, obviously, to drop something so we can all comment on it.
Yes,
yeah?
Thank you. Yeah.
Is it okay if I give the opportunity to someone else to Erica? Ooh,
yeah, can I go? Because I am in a little bit hurry today.
Yes, okay, come on.
Okay, it was very interesting to listen to Katrine, because I realized I might be the opposite to her. Because I did not prepare for this, even though you asked me. I had a thought in my back head, but I don't think too much of a problem normally. So you asked me what I'm struggling with, and my first thought was I don't struggle. That's the normal me. I don't struggle. I just see opportunities. And I think that I am better in English than most English are good in Swedish. So that's just a way to communicate. That's my point of view. So then I got a little bit deeper into this, and write text goes better and better for me, because I do that every week. I write blog posts and articles. And I also have help. I have Grammarly, which helps me a lot, I think, especially, what is it name with Grammarly, if it's new time or past times. Sometimes I mix that up. And then I also have huge help from Hillary Collingwood, because she is a perfectionist. Yes, she is a perfectionist, and she reads and she can find small things to edit and change. And she also gives me suggestions when I express myself. I'm trying to find a good expression. That's the hardest thing, actually. You have these expressions in your own language, but that doesn't go in English. So you don't have those
Translation.
yes, what you say, you have like things you always say, but that they really doesn't mean anything, you know, these kind of things. And she helps me sometimes when I just express myself on Swinglish. But I noticed there are less and less things we have to change for every week. So the more I write, the more I improve, and it goes quite fast, I think. But then I come to video. I have a huge resist on making videos, and I don't have a problem at all to do all these live videos I do on the 90-day challenge. I decided to do them all live just to challenge myself, and that is not a real challenge for me, because I could say whatever. I'm not shy. I have been in front of people in 25 years, working in stores, having been a manager and things like that. So that is not a problem. But when I have to shoot a video, say something very important, what I think is very important, I want to follow this red thread through the whole concept, and
It gets more, the pressure is higher.
Yes, the pressure is higher, and then I also feel like I don't pronounce the words right, because you know, when you're not used to speak English too much, your tongue is like twisting up.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And when you spend time abroad in another country, that solves itself, because then your mouth gets used to, the muscle gets used to speak that language. But when you speak Swedish most of the time, it's very difficult to pronounce the words right in English when you change. And that gets a lot better when you spend time with someone speaking native English. And it's really funny, because if I talk to someone from Australia, I start to speak like Australian too. And if I speak to someone in England, I just go quite similar to their spelling as well. So yeah, it's really crazy.
So anything that you like our help with, perspective on?
I wonder how you solve this with the videos, because do you care that much? I don't think really you should care too much if you pronounce it wrong, because the language cannot be the important message. It must be the message we say that's important. But still, you have your pride and you don't want to be too bad.
Yeah, I think when I am, because I do my 90-day video journey live as well, and I also hear myself make a mistake sometimes, and then I have to correct, I have to be strict to my mind, because my mind goes, my mind starts talking very negatively about myself, like, oh, you did it, it was a mistake, you better go and leave, because it's not going to happen today. And then I have to correct myself, and I have to be positive again, and I need to tell my mind to shut up, basically. And then I have to, you know, I have to make a turnaround very, very quickly, and just focus on my message and just keep on going. And yeah, it's just like you said, it's just practicing, like Katrien said in this group, practicing with native speakers from our community, and it goes better every week. And about pronunciation, as long as it's like once or twice in one video, I think it's fine, because everybody knows you're a non-native English speaker, and that's totally fine. Like Greg and Fiona said last week, sometimes, and for some people, it even trigger some more respect for us, because we do speak multiple languages and most native English speakers don't.
Yes.
So I try to, be very affirmative and be very much focused on all the positives that we have, and the benefits, and the
I can tell you a little bit funny thing that I noticed today, because I have been marketing on Facebook in Swedish, but now for several reasons I need to change. Christian Beer told me, change to UK. It's time for you to go there now, Erica. So what I did, I took Alex Miles' Facebook text, and I had that as a worksheet, and then I created my own ad from that. But some sentences was from him, because I don't know how to say it in another way. So I stole some of his sentences in the middle of the text. And then I put it in my Facebook ad when I was creating my campaign. And he had so many things that was fault in there.
Oh!
he didn't. It was have instead of has, and things like that. And I didn't make those mistakes. So he did. So maybe we're not too bad anyway. So it was a little bit funny.
Yeah, it is funny. It does boost your confidence a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then I have a good tips for you, and I'm not sure if it's a good tip, but what I have done just to get over this thing with the videos.
Okay.
Is, I write my blog posts every week, and then I make a broadcast out of it. So I shorten it down, and then I link to my full blog post. And sometimes, if the blog post isn't too long, I just broadcast the whole thing. And then I'm trying to create a video out of that. So what I do, I use an app called Teleprompter. So I just transfer my whole blog post into that. And then I just look on the screen and read my blog post.
Do you pay? Is it the paid version that you use?
I used the paid version. It was very cheap. It was like £15, something like that for the pro version. But I tried first with the free one, but I think the pro was better. Of course, it always is.
Yeah.
So but it works really well. Yeah.
£15 and that's it.
Yes.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't, not exactly, but something like that.
Yeah, okay.
So then you have your text in front of you, and it looks really good, like you're looking at the camera, and you can also adjust the speed.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I shut off the camera all the time when I said something wrong. But now I've learned, don't do that. Just roll the camera, stop, stand still for a while, and try to look like you did when you said something wrong, and then just continue. You can scroll back the text on the teleprompter and let it just start rolling, and when it's time, you just start where you were when you did your mistake.
Yeah, I use that app, but only the free version, and then you can see the text, but you can't see the text while it's filming. I think you need 2 different devices, one for the text and one for the camera.
Okay, because here it's you can see yourself like you always do on the phone, and then you see the text on the side.
Ah, okay, cool.
And it's really big text, so even I can read it.
That's a great tip.
So people above 40 can still read it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's a great tip. Yeah, I forgot about that app actually. I didn't think it was that much of a help, but if it's only like £15, like around that budget, then that's fine. Yeah.
So and then you don't have to use it word by word like I did in the beginning, because then you can, send something for free, but you still have your the context, and you can always go back to the text when you need.
Yeah, I will, in the summary of this webinar in the Facebook group, I will put this this app too as a tip. Yeah, it's a great tip. Thanks, Erica. Thanks for coming out.
Yes. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who likes to come out? Ruud.
Yeah. Yolanda and I, we also don't struggle, I think. Erica, thank you for the little tip. We challenge ourselves with our English. And for the videos, what I do, I stopped writing scripts. We are practicing together to get more inside our story. And my experience with scripts is that every video I make with a script, the result we get some results. That's okay, but it's not me. If I'm on a video and I'm reading something from a script, or I learn it
By heart.
By how do you call that?
By heart.
By heart. I learned so. Yeah, I read.
Or you memorize it.
I memorize it. That's the word. Thank you very much. And that's not. You are constantly thinking, shit, I'm forgetting this part, I'm forgetting that part, I turn things around, and I keep going for 20, 30, 40 times till I get a one-shot wonder for 4 or 5 minutes, and then when I look at it, it's okay, but it's not me. And what we are doing now is telling each other our story, and not particularly for use in an ad, but if you have your story clear for yourself, our experience is that you can tell your story for an ad easier, and often you don't need a script or an auto cue or whatever. For every ad you need a hook, and you have what Stuart Cross said, meet them where they are. But if you fold that around the same story, what is your story authentically, then it's getting a lot easier to convey the message and feel less uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We're still practicing on that, but we already noticed that when we tell our story to each other, in the beginning that's really awkward too, even worse than talking to a camera. Katrien just said you don't talk to your spouse in another language, but we try to do that. We do it in Dutch sometimes, and sometimes we do it in English. But you get the feeling that it's getting better and better.
Yeah.
So that's how we try to approach and get better. And engaging in webinars like this, even if it's for an hour or 90 minutes, it doesn't matter, but practicing your English in these groups is also very good. Little things like what you just said, oh shit, if I learn it, memorize, I memorize it. That's just a simple thing that someone can make a little, give a little tip and you know it. But the webinars are great, even if you engage yourself, it's even better. And I'm a lucky bastard. I'm flying to the Dominican now Wednesday. So I'm going to emerge in English for over a week. So I think I'm the only Dutch one. Oh no, Claire is also there, but I think the whole week is going to be in English. So.
Oh, we have a glitch, I think. Interesting. Fatma, I saw your message to whatever Ruud was saying. You said it takes a lot of focus. Fatma, do you want to come out in the webinar and maybe elaborate on what you mean by that? I don't know. Hello? Fatma?
Yes.
Do you have a camera as well?
Hello.
Hello. Hey, there you are. Welcome to the webinar. So I saw your message to whatever Ruud was saying. It takes a lot of focus. do you mean focus to keep talking in a different language to people you know? Or can you maybe explain what you meant by that?
No, my problem is sometimes I lose vocabulary. I don't know which are the right words to use, because sometimes I feel like the simple language, when I use it, doesn't express what I want to say. So that's why I find scripting important. And another thing, I don't know, I have an issue. Sometimes my mind just wanders. I start to think about other things, or other thoughts come in, or I feel like, oh, what was I going to say? That happens a lot. That's why I'm not into the idea of, go with the flow. It's very hard.
Yeah. So Ruud, welcome back. I think you had an internet glitch, but that's fine. We were talking with Fatma about her comment to what your story was about talking to, practicing your story. And then Fatma said, my mind just wanders off and thinks about irrelevant stuff. And so I think, Fatma, for you, what I would recommend from my experience is to use Ruud's tactic and do it even more so, because your mind wanders off. You need to become so clear on your story that you don't have to think anymore about it. You can just dream it. You can just, even though you're not focused completely, you can still produce your story. So to talk to someone, or to maybe, Laddie, I'm muting you because there's some sound coming from your video. So I would recommend speaking your, maybe every day, practice your story, put on the camera, talk to yourself into the camera, and talk to someone that's at home, or a friend or a family member, just to practice the story. And then they don't even have to comment. They don't have to judge you. They don't have to say anything. You need to practice that you can share your story within 4 minutes or 6 minutes. And then you need to become more smooth, and you need to make sure that you can say it in one go, unlike me looking for words and finishing my sentences.
Yeah, the idea of looking for words, that's quite an issue. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe if you practice that, you find which words you lack every time. What are the words you can't remember? What are the words you can't memorize? What are the words that you find difficult to come up with easily? Write those down. I guess it's like 5 to 10 words. Practice those 5 to 10 words. So the difficult parts are not difficult anymore, and the rest of the story is easy for you. So that's how you create your story in a more, professional and fluent and spontaneous way. What do you think?
It sounds quite good. Can I ask, sometimes after I finish, for example, shooting a video, I remember, oh, I should have mentioned this and I should have mentioned that. And then what do I do about that?
I have that too. I have that in my 90-day video journey. I have it in the more serious videos. I have it when I do an Instagram live, when I do a Facebook live. You don't have the opportunity to do it again and again and again. That's fine. I am annoyed with myself for 5 seconds and then it's fine, because your audience does not, and your success does not depend on 2 sentences that you didn't say. Okay. So if you have more ads out there, if you use different stories, a blog, a vlog, Facebook, every time you will rephrase your story, but it should be like a consistent story anyway. If you do this, because you can't make one message and for the next 5 years use that message. It needs to be okay. You need to try and see what audiences resonate with certain wording. So what I will say is that do some research on your audience and see what it is that will trigger them, because you need to make sure that there's a couple of those things in your message, and it doesn't have to be all 100 reasons why. What is your target market, if I may ask?
It's mainly parents who are struggling to, stay with children rather than go to work.
So that's completely different from my audience, for example. So I would never use the reason to stay home, to be able to stay home with my kids. That's something I will never say. But the underlying reason for us being in this business is the same. We want more time and financial freedom. So the wording, obviously, for me is different than for you. But still, in your target market, there's different ways of saying something. You can say you want to be able to pick your child up from school when he or she is ill. You want to be able to say, I don't know, when their grandma or granddad is ill, you want to be able to, pick your kid up and go to the hospital. So there's different types of wordings that all mean the same. So don't be scared that you miss out on that reason that everybody, like the more obvious reasons. Okay. But I wouldn't worry about that too much. You're going to make different stories with different wording, different reasons anyway. So if you notice that you missed out one reason that you really wanted to say in that message and you forgot, write it down. The next message is going to be with that reason first, and then the rest is going to be, improvised.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a good way of thinking about it, positive way, basically, yes.
There's nothing more you can do than just keep on practicing, keep on going, and keep on pushing the content out there.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Jiska.
Yeah, Ruud, you're back from where you were, and I
was never away.
You were, back from away. That's a very Dutch expression, by the way. Terug van weg geweest, back from away. Anyway, you're back from away, and I want to give you the opportunity to finish your point. You were saying that you practice with your wife, your story, and it's very awkward in the beginning to speak English or a different language than your native language to someone you really know, you know really well. But yeah, you need to finish your point.
Yeah, I don't know until what point you heard it, but I almost finished it because I was telling about the fact that it's telling it to your partner is almost more awkward than telling it into a camera.
Yeah.
But I noticed that I'm getting better at it, so I think it's a great way to practice. And I saw in the chat that Erica thanked me for the tip of telling your story to yourself as if you were telling it to a friend, and she was afraid that her neighbors were calling her a psychic when they see her walking around talking to herself. That's great. That's a great joke. But I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to Yolanda in this case, and she's talking to me. So I'm not talking into space or something. We try to make it a conversation and not really a conversation because one person does the talking, but it makes it a little more interactive than just a camera. And if you have your story lined up in your head, and that it is your own story, so it shouldn't be too difficult to really live your story and use that in an ad if you got a right hook. And you got to feel it. And what we've learned over the last year is that it's really important that if you put a message out there, or if it's written or on Facebook or a video on YouTube, you got to feel. You have to feel your words also. It's got to be you. And we made the mistake. I also copied complete parts of Stuart Ross's video or Dan Holloway and used that. But it doesn't feel right. It's not me. The words that Stuart Ross uses or Dan Holloway, they are not my words. So slowly you become to realize that. But you want to go quick, and I can't make things up myself. So I borrow some words from other people, but it's not the most fulfilling way.
No. Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing everything.
Yep.
I know that Alexander wants to come out, and looking at the time, we have 10 minutes left. So let's see if we have time for someone else. If there is someone else, I don't know if there's someone else who still wants to come out. Not for now. Yeah, Vladi, is there Lucia as well. Okay, so Alexander, you said you have like 5 points, so let's see how far we come. And I already said it to everyone that we will do more brainstorms and inspirational webinars like this in the future, amongst all the general themes that we will have in the future as well.
Okay.
Alexander, welcome.
My pleasure. First time. Thank you very much. I made it finally. Today is my family day, so I'm a little bit stealing from family. Friday is my day when I'm spending the whole day of working. Now, the 5 points, I didn't know how closely it should be related to English or ad, and generally speaking, registering videos and communicating. The first thing is, when it comes to an ad, for me, it's not so much the language or English language, which causes a problem. There was at the beginning a little bit of thinking about learning and scripting, and I was listening and reading and even Lichtman's course, I bought the whole book and everything, but I suddenly realized that it's a temperament question. It's personality. So I do not script. I prepare a lot of things in my mind. I know the structure of my presentation or ad or discussion, and I prepare the arguments and the bullet points. And this is what is the basis for everything I do. If I write it down, first of all, I'm a very abundant writer and speaker, which is absolutely not good. Everything I plan for 3 minutes is 4.5. Everything I plan for 2 pages is 3. So it doesn't work. So I prefer to have a watch and bullet points. Like now I eliminated already 2. Now, when it comes to language, specifically, let's say in my case, English, which is obviously not my first language, it's not even second, it's probably 4th, 5th or something like that. All the languages I've learned after my first 2 languages, I was born with 2 languages, bilingual by birth. I realized without really knowing, it just happened to me that I immediately started to speak and write in that language. Some people translate, which is a waste of time, and they are misled, and they try to do too much of that, and all the time. Now, I'm lucky in a little bit in that aspect, so I do not err on that side. However, there is a little bit of a regret, because depending on the subject, I have some expressions or proverbs or sayings which I literally miss. I normally speak French at home, but then even this is only my 3rd language. And then the other languages I don't use so much. But at every age, in every country, on every continent I lived, I acquired something, and it comes out, it's just totally out of context. So I try to translate, it comes out a little bit flat. So what I try to do is to learn basically sayings and proverbs so that I can enrich my language, because I don't know who mentioned that. I think Erica was that I like to speak in a way, or maybe Katrine, you mentioned in Danish that you like things which you like, and you misses the fact that you cannot express yourself in Danish. Now, in whatever other language I learned something, I really miss it, and I try to translate it. So I ended up being frustrated. So what I do is, it may be a little bit ridiculous, but I read proverbs, I read verbs. On internet, it's very easy nowadays, and I try to learn them, not too much, but basically not to miss out, not to have this frustration that I cannot enrich and make my expression a little bit more flowery. Now, the other thing is that another concept I learned many, many years back, we foreigners, foreign language speakers, because we're always foreigners. It's interesting, I don't know if you realize, you go to a country like you go from Holland to England, or the UK, how many foreigners live in the UK? Just imagine all of these 50 million foreigners. So I always felt like that. I was always foreigner in every country, obviously, because I have already dual origin. But the general thing is, you cannot overdo it in the foreign language, your native tongue. You cannot express yourself more intelligently or in a more richer way. Now, it's not in an absolute way. Of course, you can learn things in a new language, you can acquire vocabulary, you can develop yourself, you can be more in one area, in one domain, but it's very hard to, your educational level is in here and your speaking level is in here in, let's say, native language or the 2nd language, and then suddenly you want to appear in the 3rd language like somebody who who can crush it and who is extremely literary, it comes out extremely forcefully. So I don't know if the ad is the best example of that, but to a certain degree, we try to steal phrases, we want to appeal. There is a little bit of a tendency of trying to be persuasive, authentic, relaxed, nice and pleasing and related to, and maybe a little bit of annoying. So it's extremely hard, again, to overdo your native tongue. The only way to do it is to acquire more than just the language, vocabulary, culture, and everything in that new language. So that was it. Now, the last thing which I wanted to mention is the hums and I do it a lot, and I only realized I do when I started to watch myself on the videos. And of course, I always knew that it's not very nice. Now, when it comes to videos, there's one rule. First of all, if somebody wants to not to do that, obviously we have to stop. It's much nicer to say, this is true, instead of this is true, but stop. It gives more like, more, I wouldn't say aristocratic, but more research. Now, when we do videos, especially when we do that videos for our business, it's much better to pre-register. Of course, no improvisation and live, that's a kill. What we have to do is we stop. It's much easier to manipulate and cut when it's not a continuous speech and not this, because even the cut it half, it's very ugly. So then we have to do a lot of overlays. So there are ways to trick a little bit, but some of the rules is keep it at the same level, learn everything, be very much at ease if it's a question of expressing yourself. Of course, speak a little bit slower, because people who are listening to us, they are not necessarily judging us of how quickly we speak. Now, obviously, Stu can do that, and then there are exceptional people who can be very persuasive and very smoothly spoken, etc. If it's not the case, articulate and slow sometimes is better. And that was the 5 points. Just one thing, Jiska, I sent you an Instagram message, which is a live or whatever you call it, and it died. I don't know what happened. I realized that it went on to the general Facebook, whatever, like live or your story, and the 2 minutes became 10 seconds. So I don't know. So you didn't receive probably my message. Anyway, doesn't matter. So, in Instagram, you have the possibility to send the message. So I sent you a message, but it didn't come through, I realized. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how to use it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexander. That's very useful information. Anyone who wants to comment on whatever Alex just said? Everything clear?
I would like to try, but I don't know how it is with this noise from my computer.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. I would like to share what my biggest struggle is actually. Like we discussed earlier, I can't find the exact words, the proper words to express what's exactly in my mind. And I actually found that the root of this is the lack of practice. I'm lacking practice in English. So whenever I find new words, I write them down, I check the translation, I check the pronunciation. Sometimes I don't do this, just try to keep in my mind and remember the word, but I find that after not using the word for 1 or 2 days, I completely forget it. And
yeah,
this is
so it seems like you just need more practice, because
yes, exactly. And since I joined SFM, I see big improvement in my English. It's because of the practice.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm in a situation where my partner is non-native English speaking, but she is not originally from my country as well. So our communication is in English mainly. Sometimes we use words of our original languages just to support our English whenever we can't find the proper words, the exact words in English.
Yeah.
And this is, I see in this a little problem for me, because our level in English is different, and I'm trying to support her and to to help her improve her English as well. But I think Trine discussed this earlier. When we speak to people who has lower level than ours, we automatically switch to some lower level and we start speak some different language. It's not exactly the one that we can speak generally.
Yeah.
Yes.
I totally understand. And, you know, the situation, the issue is clear here. I would say the struggle is real. And
Yes.
Before anyone else comments on this, which I think we can do for, well, 2 minutes or
Yeah,
so.
I would just like to share something else. I wrote some comment in the chat window that sometimes I experience this problem. I have a clear thought in my mind and I would like to express, but when I start talking, it comes something completely different out of my mouth. Sometimes I say so silly things that actually this makes me little unconfident when I try to express myself, and just it's like a break for me, holds me back. It's hard. This is one of the reasons I don't shoot videos. I haven't shot any videos so far, and I hope I will overcome this fear in the near future and maybe start shooting videos. Yeah,
So in the 5 minutes that you just spoke, you were perfectly able to express your feelings into words. And there was no disconnection between what was on your mind and what you...
Yes, I find this problem with me. Sometimes I have the feeling that my thought is just like a flash in my mind and everything is very clear. I just only need to say it with words, but exactly maybe because of this, it's like a flash. It just comes and passes away very quickly, and after this I'm unable to express myself. I had situations like this many times, and yeah, this is pretty stressful to me. So maybe I would urge everybody to practice as much as possible, and maybe it's good in this relation to join communities of people, high intelligent people who speak really good English and understandable English, and just try to practice with them and speak as much as possible.
Yeah, so Raymond is saying, does this happen because you're under pressure, that you put a lot of pressure upon yourself? Because again, right now, I feel that you are opening your heart and
yes.
And don't feel like, I don't experience a disconnection. I don't see you struggle.
Yeah, maybe the reason is because we are non-native English speaking.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Even though I mean, right now you're a non-native English speaker as well.
Yes, and I feel
by sharing what's on your heart, in a very relaxed and safe space like this is, it seems to go.
Yes,
right.
actually, this makes me feeling more relaxed. That all of us, we're in the same situation. We have some struggles with the English language, and
so maybe if you, I don't know what your target market is, but if you know that you're targeting non-native English speakers, you know that you're still in a space where other people also have English as their second or third or fourth language. Does that bring comfort to you?
Probably yes.
Okay, and then is this disconnection also happening in your own language, when you think and speak in your own language, or is it happening when the English language comes in?
Yeah, actually I'm thinking in English and just trying to express what I'm thinking, but
yeah,
I'm losing the connection sometimes.
It seems to me that you just need practice, because then you become more comfortable, your vocabulary will become richer with more words. You even at some point are able to express the exact same thing, to explain it with different words. So I think this is a moment where I show everyone what I've been finding on the internet, because right now I'm learning Spanish, so I have the complete opposite. Well, it's the same experience with another language actually. Mm-hmm. Yesterday I was told that there is this free thing available on the internet, which is called language exchange. On that website, you make a profile and you say, I speak English, I want to learn Spanish. Or I speak Hungarian and I want to learn English. So you can select it, and then you can reach out to people who have the language that you're interested in learning. And then you can make a Skype call, you can meet up in the city that you live in, because Vladi, you live in Ireland. So,
yes, I'm originally Bulgarian, but living in Ireland, yes.
So I can imagine that you, on that website, find someone who speaks English fluently and wants to learn a language that you speak. Maybe Bulgarian, maybe another language. I don't know how many languages.
Yes, Bulgarian.
So Bulgarian. So maybe you find someone where you live that wants to learn Bulgarian, so you can meet up and then you can speak each other's languages and then you can learn it. It's completely free.
I could try. I didn't think of this before.
I will leave it in the summary. I found out about this yesterday even only. So that's what I wanted to share with you today.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I feel that my English is good enough, even though it's not perfect. I feel it's good enough, but I'm now learning a new language. So I am at the beginner's level of Spanish, and I need to, look for tools and tricks and things so I can improve my Spanish. I need to start all over again with Spanish, basically. So that's why I wanted to share this, because it works for every language.
And would you tell us how do you overcome the different English dialects? Because certainly there are several of them in different parts of the world, like
it's
Australian just, English is pretty different.
I think when you listen to an accent, I think what's important is that you keep track of the context. So if someone is talking about going to the beach, they talk about bringing stuff to the beach, playing ball games on the beach. All of that is pronounced differently, but if you then can think for yourself, they probably meant this because the context is beach and not supermarket. Then you can, for yourself, be creative and be, a little bit smart about what it is they probably mean. And if that's good enough for you to understand the whole context and the story, then that's good enough. Don't beat yourself up because you didn't understand every single word. If you know what they mean, if you get the emotion and the type of energy, and if you understand that it's a positive or a negative situation that they're in, there's more ways than just the words itself that tell a story, basically. So with different accents, I would just... with different accents, what I have found is that there are certain, an accent is consistent, which means that the A is sometimes pronounced a little bit like an E or an I, but they do that consistently with every word that has an A in there. So for some words, you can then recognize them more easily. Others are to be recognized a little bit more difficult, but because the accent and the difference in accent, the strange pronunciation is consistent throughout the whole language, you just need to memorize and remember how that particular word or sound is, and then you can apply it to the whole language and the whole story.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yes, of course. Thank you.
I'm not an expert in accents, but that's how I try to keep up with everything they say, because then if I hear a weird pronunciation and then for a different word that I do know, I recognize that it's pronounced differently, I memorize how it is pronounced in that language, and then I apply it for all the other words as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I will try to doing this.
Potato, tomato, yeah, that's English or American is very different. Roots, yeah, definitely.
Yes, I just remember now my struggles on the beginning when I came to Ireland. I had a big struggle with the local dialect, and actually I still participating in situations where the local people can't understand me when we have some conversation and we speak. It's hard to express sometimes using words that I'm not confident I'm pronouncing the right way.
Yeah.
And I see their faces, they're just trying to understand, which put another bit of stress over me.
Yeah, but maybe also think for yourself, there's no right or wrong. There's just different ways of pronouncing. So you might be the one that pronounces things differently, but there's also, they could also do a little bit more research. Like, it's not just you that is the problem.
Yeah.
It's the difference and the different backgrounds that is the problem. So don't beat yourself up over something you can't change, because it's your background. If they were to come to Bulgaria, they would experience the exact same thing. And
Exactly.
you know, they're just lucky that that the English language is what we adjust to normally. But you don't have to see yourself as less worthy, not enough. You know, all those things, all the stress factors that you
yes, maybe I have to be more relaxed when having conversation with somebody. Like now when we're speaking to each other and I understand everything, and it's not hard for me to express my thoughts and my feelings. It's pretty good feeling to me now.
Yeah, and keep
good experience.
these webinars as well, because your English is fine. It's like, right, guys? Yeah.
Thank you all.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely advise you to start with the 90-day video journey.
Yes, just decent confidence stopped me doing this.
It's the 90-day video journey Facebook group is incredibly supportive, incredibly loving, incredibly eager to comment on people's messages and videos. It's the safest place on earth, I think. It's comparable to this group.
Maybe it's the right time to start this.
I would definitely encourage you, and I think you're ready.
Okay, thanks. I will. Thank you. Maybe
so I think,
provide the
guys,
chance to somebody else.
This should be the end of the webinar for today, because we're going over time already. It's 10 past whatever it is in your time zone. And looking at the messages, is there anything that I should still address or comment on, or was it just a conversation between everyone about what was being discussed? Anyone who wants to know? Was that fine for now? Okay. Then I want to thank every one of you for coming to the webinar. I think it was great to have everybody speak a little bit more, because I feel that I do the talking most of the time. And I think it's time for you also to, like we discussed today, we need to practice, all of us, our English. So that's something I need to work on for these webinars, to give people the opportunity to speak a little bit more, because it is the English that we need to keep practicing. And our environments are non-native. Most of our environments are non-native. And yeah, this is the space where we practice. So thank you very much, everyone. And I hope to see you next week. I am thinking of changing the time of the webinar. I think I want to get rid of the Saturdays. How do you feel about that? Would that be okay or not okay? Thumbs up.
You can make a poll in the Facebook group, I think.
Yeah, I'll do another poll. That's a good idea, definitely. Yeah, okay. So anyway, next week there's another one. Maybe on Saturday, maybe another day. I will do a poll in the Facebook group and we can see what people want. Okay? Yes. Have a lovely weekend. Speak English.
Thank you. You too.
Talk to you very soon.
Bye. Bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you.